I, M26, found out my wife, f25, had a threesome while she's in jail. I'm 26, my wife is 25. We met as teenagers and have been together for 7 years. Currently she is serving a 6-month sentence in a probation detention center. She has just left a couple weeks ago. Tonight, however, against my best judgment, and my gut, I went through her phone. She left me her phone unlocked to help her pay her credit card bills and car note, which in total is about $700 a month. I saw she deleted all her messages with her friend, f20s, who I have always been suspicious about. Her friend, let's call her friend, is always cheating on her boyfriend and meeting guys for sex and sometimes tries to get money from them through scams. She didn't permanently delete all her messages though, and I restored them. And what I found completely broke me. I'm February of this year, my wife went out with friend and the night ended with friend texting my wife, "Don't forget to delete texts." And my wife replies, "Already blocked, tears of joy, tears of joy." I'm already freaking out at this point. There are several other instances of them talking about how hot guys are and guys adding my wife on Snapchat and are semi-excited about it. Always ending in friend telling her to message them and my wife saying maybe. Eventually I come across that they made OnlyFans accounts to try and scam guys and make money through more than the regular OnlyFans content type of way. Most of the convos are deleted, but there are a few texts that give it away but leave out a lot of details. The worst is friend asking for provocative pictures to send to guys, and my wife sends a picture of herself, in a very compromising position, with bruises on her body and tied up. In our 7 years we never tried anything like that in the bedroom. My wife is very self-conscious about her body and I try to accommodate that and assure her I love her and am attracted to her no matter what. So for her to do something like THT for someone else hurts a lot. That may seem kinda gross from my point of view, like jealous, but I still feel it. She is naked in the photo and they both laugh at the picture. Soon before sending that picture there is a message of friend saying, "I had so much fun. Felt like a teenager again," and my wife agreeing. Then friend asks for photos and my wife sends the photo of her tied up. Friend then says, "Don't show these to that guy we shared." What guy we shared? Did they have a threesome? Is the photo taken by friend, or is there some creep out there who has that photo of my wife and mother of my kids? So I'm very confused and completely fuming now. A lot of it is hard to piece together because my wife deleted some texts and not others. My heart is beating out of my chest and I go to her Facebook messages where she messaged a guy about wanting to see him before her court date. The rest of their texts don't seem flirty, but she has never mentioned this guy to me at all. So that's very suspicious also. Also, I have to clarify that during the dirty photo was September 4, 2020. Me and my wife had taken a break but were working things out. The day before we planned a whole date with an itinerary and everything. The date went well and I thought we were on the right track to fix our relationship. That following October we got back together for good. Also, she is in jail for helping an inmate she fell in love with make extra phone calls with a banned cell phone in 2021. I knew of this already and we decided to work through it since she came and talked to me about it and I didn't find out through another source. She seemed genuine and regretful about that. I haven't slept all night. We have 2 kids together, 7 and 3. She calls me from jail completely divested that she's missing out in the kids and me. And she is a great mother. Other than getting in trouble for what she's in jail for, she always thinks about the kids first and puts them first. They never want for anything and she always has ideas to take them to do fun things. We were in a very good place before she left for jail, at least from my point of view. We told each other we loved each other, our sex life was good, we communicated and supported each other, and we just in an overall good place relationship-wise. IDK whether to tell her I know all these things because it will just break her down even more while she's in there. She begs me to not to leave her every time she calls, but I'm guessing now it's because she might think I will find this stuff out. I really don't know what to do. Do I just hold all this in and wait for her to get out and then talk about it in 6 months or so? Do I tell her tonight when she calls? I'm completely heartbroken, confused and lost. Edit too long, did not read. I found out my wife could have had a threesome and cheated on me, but she is in jail and I don't know whether to confront her or not. Save all the messages, dude. Every bit of info you can. Talk to a lawyer about what happens next. You may not know what is going to happen, but if shit hits the fan then cover yourself. You can confront now, but probably best to wait till she is out of jail. Also, you can't say she is a good mum. A good mum won't put herself into the position to go to jail away from her kids. Why is this great mother in jail? Dude, dump her. You are just emotional support once she gets out. She will dump you. During those 6 months, arrange your divorce. I cannot say to you what to do, but I guess you don't have to act like an idiot or being a meal ticket for a convict. File for divorce. I can't believe I'm typing this, but seriously dude? She's a scam artist, cheat, liar and criminal, in jail. Flushed. I, 20F, found my boyfriend, 19M, wearing my clothes. I caught my boyfriend wearing my clothes and I don't know what to do. Some context: me and my boyfriend have been dating for 3 years. He's the love of my life and I wouldn't want to spend my time with anyone else. I met my boyfriend when we were both in high school. It was both our first relationship, so we were quite nervous about dating. We both left the same year. I was 18 and graduating and him 17 and dropping out. I encouraged him to stay, but he decided against it and started working construction for his father as fast as he could. He's always been quite masculine, buzzcut, mustache and refusal to do anything feminine. At first I thought he was putting on a fact, but after meeting his hardcore English dad I realized he was being honest. Over the years I've tried to show him that gender roles really don't matter that much, and it has succeeded to some degree, but he was still quite stereotypically masculine. I work at a bakery and some of our staff quit, so I've been working a lot recently. At first it did cause some fights, but that was mainly because we worked opposite shifts, so for almost a month we rarely saw each other, but we realized that nothing could be done, so we compromised by FaceTiming and calling each other anytime we could. On Friday I was working and it was his day off. Halfway into my shift my boss offered to take over so I could get some rest. Usually I would decline, but I was so exhausted I decided to take her up on the offer and just go home. When I was driving home I tried to call him 3 times but he didn't answer. This worried me a little, but I just decided to ignore it. Usually when I get home I'll call on him and he runs up and kisses me. It's a silly tradition but we like it, but I wanted to surprise him so I kept quiet. I crept around our apartment looking for him and I realized he was in our room. I slowly walked over to our room and when I opened it I saw him standing in front of our mirror wearing one of my sundresses. I was surprised at first and a little confused. He had never shown an interest in females' clothing until now, so I was just shocked. After a couple seconds he turned round and saw me and his face could only be described as sheer terror. I thought he'd overreact and try and explain himself, but I saw his breathing quicken and he started crying. I quickly ran over to him but he backed away and just slid against the wall onto the floor. In the 4 years I've knew him he had never cried before. I was at his mother's funeral with him and not once did he cry. As he was on the floor I tried comforting him but he stopped me every time, and after a couple minutes I left the room to give him some space. Almost an hour later he came out the room, now wearing his own clothes. He had a suitcase with him. I quickly asked why, but he just said he was leaving. I asked and begged him to stay and talk but he just left. After he left I tried calling and texting him but the phone went straight to voicemail, which either means it's out of charge or he's blocked me. I called his father but he just got annoyed and said that my boyfriend is a grown man and to give him space. It's been 2 days and I've still not heard from him. I thinks he's staying with his father, and for the record I wouldn't mind if he wore feminine clothes. Should I go to his father's house and confront him? TL. Doctor, I caught my boyfriend wearing my dress and now he left and won't speak to me. Edit. By confront, I don't mean drive over and yell at him. I just mean go to his father's house and ask to speak to him. Poor choice of words on my front. Do you want to confront a man about wearing women's clothing in front of his father? Just wait a while and see if he reaches out. He needs to process his thoughts and assess what he wants to do. Don't try and force anything. Just let him be for a bit. In saying that, don't wait forever, as no one's worth your own happiness. My boyfriend, who is kind of androgynous but straight, wear my clothes sometimes for fun. I don't care, it's funny. One life to live. I'm betting your boyfriend has some emotional problems caused by his father. Sounds like he's a cross-dresser and knows his father wouldn't accept him for it. Reassurance from you, and counseling, would help. Better to end it now than drag it out. Let him go. My 25F mom, 44F, punched me and made my family leave her dinner party. My parents hosted a dinner party tonight at their house. After a few drinks and about 15 rounds of Cards Against Humanity, my mom punched me in the arm in response to a very light-hearted and obvious joke. And not a light, goofy, ha-ha, fake punch, but a full-on rear back punch. My brother, 21M, had said that my mom was old because she used an older slang term to understand one of the cards after we explained it to her. I could tell she didn't like that joke, so to take the incoming heat off of him I said, Yeah, like earlier when I said she was born in 1968. Which was a joke I had made earlier in the night, because it's very obvious that my mom was not born in 68, she looks younger than her age. The first time I made the joke she laughed, wasn't hurt or offended by it at all, and I am very in tune with my mom's emotions. After the repeat of my joke, she turned, looked at me, and punched my left arm. And laughed. I'm unsure if I made a face or a wincing noise, but my brother, even in front of his very new girlfriend he brought for us all to meet, asked, "Are you okay?" That looked like it hurt. And he usually doesn't say anything during confrontations. I responded with, "Yeah, it did, I didn't like that." And our mom's immediate response was, "Then grab your kids and get out of my house." So that's exactly what me and my husband did. My brother and his new girlfriend also left, not angrily, but they did leave at the same time as us. Am I wrong for being upset over this? In my opinion, she could have had a completely different reaction to me saying, "I didn't like that," and all would be well in the world. Maybe I am being dramatic for this because my ex used to physically and emotionally abuse me. The second I saw her pull back her fist, it was a very old but familiar fear I felt. And the sting of a punch really brought back old emotions. Once we got back home and I was trying to rock our 7-week-old to sleep, it all hit me at once. And I just sobbed. The old pain, fear, and humiliation that I thought I'd never feel again came flooding back. Now my family knows I was abused. Years ago when I was still with him I filed a police report after he left bruises from choking me, and I lived with them for a few weeks. But they don't know the full extent of what he did or my life was like. So maybe she didn't realize it would bring these emotions up? I would also like to say that this is by far not the only time she has done this to me or anyone else for that matter. She's punched me in the arm a few times before, stabbed and scratched me with a pen while in a moving vehicle, thrown things. I have said something once before about these physical altercations and she made fun of me. Also, all of this is fairly new. The past 2-ish years, after me and my abuser finally split. What do I do now? Do I apologize? Am I wrong for being upset? Am I being dramatic over all of this? What do I say to her now? Please help. It's hard for me to think clearly for myself right now. I would also like to say that this is by far not the only time she has done this to me or anyone else for that matter. She's punched me in the arm a few times before, stabbed and scratched me with a pen while in a moving vehicle, thrown things. I have said something once before about these physical altercations and she made fun of me. Also, all of this is fairly new. The past 2-ish years, after me and my abuser finally split. I don't know what to make of this, but it's not right. Something's really wrong here. Who else does your mother hit? You're not the one that should be apologizing. Stay away from her. I wouldn't even speak to her unless she genuinely apologized and promised never to hit you again. I'd never trust her to be around the kids in case she decided to do the same things to them. Your mother is abusive. I would cut her out of your life and not let her around your children. God forbid she acts like that with your kids. You need to keep your kids away from her. She is physically abusive. Do not apologize. Keep her away from your family. Do not show your children that this is acceptable behavior to go back to. Your mother assaulted you. She should apologize at least. It's never okay to hit another person. Don't let her get away with it. If she wasn't happy, she can use her words like any other rational adult. Husband, 27 male, emotionally cheated on me, 28 female, while I was 1 month postpartum. Need advice. Hi everyone. I'm on the app, so if it looks weird, I'm sorry. It's also extremely long. So as the title states, my husband emotionally cheated on me, and it started when I was 1 month postpartum, pp going forward. I found out he was receiving sexual pictures and videos from multiple women and him, and I argued about it. Told him that women sending him pictures is completely different than looking at porn. He didn't see it that way but told me he was willing to calm down on it. I also found text messages with him and another girl where he told her that he loves her and she is his soulmate. But then he created a Tinder account and matched with someone I used to work with. Her ex-fiancé did the same to her, so she sent me everything. He set up a date with her after we set a date to start marriage counseling. After I found out, I told him I wanted a divorce. I had just had a baby and his reasoning was, he wasn't receiving the attention he wanted and needed. We talked a lot after I told him I wanted to file and I was willing to give one more chance. 2 weeks in, he tells me he is going to go to a bar with a friend of his for his birthday. I informed him that was the same excuse he gave me when he planned to go out on the date, but he told me a different friend. He said that he wanted time with his friends or else he'd have me go with, but then we'd have the issue of our 2 kids. So he didn't know how to prove he was going to go out. I asked to see the messages with the friend and he asked me if I would believe him after seeing the messages and I said yes. My friend had sent me a screenshot of her phone maybe 15 minutes later showing me a notification saying my husband was now on Snapchat. He already had a Snapchat. And then it had clicked once he sent me the screenshot of his conversation. He created a brand new Snapchat to prove he was going where he said he was going. Once I saw that, I told him I was done and wanted a divorce. He is now saying he wants another chance to prove he's better and won't do that anymore. He has made major changes already, but he waited until my breaking point to do it. But we've been together for 10 years, married for 5 and have 2 kids together. I feel like I'm done, but it's so hard to just walk away and I don't know what to do. I don't want to come out of my postpartum fog and regret my choices. My daughter is now 3 months and this was going on since she was 1 month. Can I get advice on what others would do? He's a serial cheater. This wasn't a one-time mistake, it was repeated deliberate lying. Plus any man who uses their wife, paying attention to their newborn as an excuse for cheating is disrespectful AF. I'd be done with this romantic relationship. He probably won't stop. Divorce him. Did you ever find out who he was going to meet that night? He says you haven't given him what he needed, but he hasn't given you what you needed. A loving, supportive and loyal husband. Sign those papers and let the garbage take itself out. He is aware of what he is doing. The first paragraph is where I wanted to stop reading. He said he'd calm down on receiving pictures because he didn't see it from your perspective? That's disrespectful. He's not stupid, of course he knows that is wrong. He knows it's different than porn. He was willing to calm down on it, really? The rest just gets worse. Please leave that man. He's not a good husband and doubt he'll be a good father. It sounds like you've given him too much grace even before this and he's abusing it. That man does not respect you. Please leave, you deserve better. Please move forward with the divorce. You don't want your daughter growing up thinking this is a healthy relationship and following in your footsteps. You deserve better.